In the wild, it's vital to move with the times. Whether getting out of trouble, searching for a meal, or traveling around the world, creatures have incredible ways of moving through life. A vast, flat grassland, littered with trees and shrubs, the African savannah. It's the perfect environment for speed and home to some of the biggest, fastest, tallest and best-known animals on the planet. But which of these four-legged safari stars is the best mover? Each one has different moves, but these come at a cost. To find out what their crucial design faults are, let's take each animal one step at a time. The cheetah is well known as the fastest runner on Earth. No animal's better designed for speed. A light, lithe body, a tail used as a rudder for sharp cornering, a small head to reduce wind resistance, and a spine like a spring to give extra reach. Special paw pads and non-retractable claws act like running spikes. All this helps it reach speeds of 110 kilometers an hour. But to be the fastest on four legs, you must pay the price. Burnout after only 250 meters. The cheetah's main target is the Thompson's gazelle. They're smaller and slower, but it's hard to catch something that leaps like a nervous ballet dancer. Only 1 in 5 hunting trips are successful. Most cheetahs live less than 10 years. As they depend on their feet for survival, any foot injuries usually spell the end. If speed isn't the perfect answer, what about height? Giraffes have the same number of vertebrae in their necks as humans. Their bones are just longer. They've escaped becoming victims by becoming giants, up to 6 meters tall. They're distinctive walkers. Both legs on one side swing forward at the same time. But when they run, it's all change. The hind legs move together and ahead of the front pair. It's ungainly, but it works. Long necks make reaching tall trees easy, but they also make drinking awkward. Elastic blood vessels with special valves stop blood rushing to the brain. Without these, they'd pass out. Crossing water reveals a further design problem. They just can't swim. This can have fatal results. Elephants do like water, and if it's deep, they've even got a periscope. At up to 6 tons, African elephants are the planet's largest land animals. Being this big has its benefits. Like the giraffe, adults have no predators. But being a heavyweight also has major drawbacks. Elephants can't move quickly. Just walking puts as much strain on their skeleton as a racehorse galloping at top speed. When they charge, they're in serious danger of pulling muscles and shattering bones. Fast moves take more energy, and more energy means more food. A lot more. Life is a constant search for food and water. A big body means an elephant can easily overheat. If they speed up, they risk death from heat exhaustion. We've seen design faults in the giraffe, cheetah, and elephant. Is there another way? There is, and it's an unlikely one. Ostriches reach 70 kilometers an hour on just 2 legs, but unlike the 4-legged cheetah, they've got lots of stamina and can keep going for at least 30 minutes. They're big, so they're no easy prey. A powerful forward kick with a single sharp claw can kill a lion. 2 legs, a beak, and wings that don't work. Yet, it's one of the plane's most successful movers. Evolution has a way of rewriting the rulebook anywhere on the planet. Unlike the open plains, the rainforest is a mass of obstacles. It's a maze, a tangled mess of branches, leaves, and vines. Getting around this 3-dimensional world takes different skills, different shapes, and different moves. Fast and furious, leaping and swinging, tumbling and falling. That's the way to move around the Amazonian forest. Or is it? A sloth, the classic slow mover. Sloths sleep 20 hours a day. And when they do move, it's at 1 kilometer per month. That's 3.5 years to do a marathon. Sloths seem lazy, but perhaps they're moving in mysterious ways. In fact, the sloth is perfectly adapted to jungle life. But when the rest of the rainforest is a frantic hive of activity, how does it manage it? To find out, we need to know more about its neighbors. Nothing could be less slothful than this. These animals are on the move for food. Spider monkeys are designed to live the high life. 90% of their diet is fruit and seeds. These need to be plucked from many different trees, so nature's given them the perfect frame to keep on the move. Long, sinewy arms, supple shoulder joints, and hooked hands let them swing from branch to branch in a rhythmic motion called brachiation. It's very effective. In a single arm stride, they cover 12 meters. Their feet are long and stretched, and the big toe works like a hand to grasp skinny branches. When it's too far to swing, they use powerful back legs and flexible branches to launch themselves. But it's not just their arms and legs which make spider monkeys the masters of treetop travel. Prehensile tails, longer than their bodies and narrower than their limbs, wrap around trees like an all-purpose fifth arm. The tip's hairless on the inside to help grip. The tail can support the monkey's full weight. They can reach the flimsiest branches to grab fruit and escape predators. Nowhere's out of bounds. But the sloth's still hanging around. It grips branches with huge hook-like claws which lock into place so tightly that even a dead sloth stays put. Unlike most mammals, a sloth's fingers and toes are bound together by skin. Only the claws are separate. Its feet can rotate almost 180 degrees, twice that of a trained ballet dancer. Above the sloth, life's still on the move. Woolly monkeys are bigger, fatter and furrier than spider monkeys. They're one of the Amazon's largest primates. They'd rather drop than leap. A woolly monkey's life is a daily swing and tumble over a 4-kilometer feeding range. Their grasping hands are more human-like than a spider monkey's. They have a proper thumb. Crashing through leaves, splintering branches, woolly monkeys are on a relentless quest for food. But still, the sloth hangs on. What for? Why is the sloth such a slug compared to its neighbors? Especially its next-door neighbors. Marmosets are quick, agile jumpers. They're one of the smallest primates in the world, but can jump nearly 4 meters using powerful hind legs and a long tail for balance. Marmosets crawl on all fours like squirrels, and unlike the other monkeys, have got claws instead of nails. These claws don't just help movement, they also keep hold of slippery meals. These primates are always on the go, searching for the best food. But the sloth's not a fussy eater, and that's the secret of its success. Its metabolic rate is half that of a monkey, so it can make do with whatever's to hand or hook. The poorest quality leaves suit it just fine. Its digestive system moves the slowest of all. Meals sit in the stomach for up to a month to extract every last bit of energy. And just once a week, nature calls. Gripping the bark tightly with its claws, the sloth slowly shuffles down to the forest floor. Now the sloth's stumpy tail comes into play. It uses it to dig a small hole before fertilizing the soil with its droppings. A sloth's skeleton is so well adapted to hanging in the trees that life on the ground's a complete drag. Its limbs and back muscles are so weak, it can't even stand up. However, the Amazon rainforest floods frequently, and it's then that the sloth reveals some unexpected moves. They are surprisingly graceful swimmers. Thick fur keeps them buoyant, and they can dive and remain underwater for up to 7 minutes. Their gangly front legs are longer than the back ones. This strange arrangement helps climbing and lets them paddle through the water with ease. Swimming's the one thing sloths can do relatively quickly. So it's the best way for them to move to different parts of the forest and, if needs be, escape predators. Back on dry land, it's business as usual. A slow clamber back up to a comfortable height to hang out, eat, and sleep. Sloths and monkeys may move very differently, but their basic body plan, 4 limbs and a tail, is the same. But a fellow South American resident shows that you don't need these extremities to be a success. At up to 11 meters long, the anaconda is one of the largest snakes in the world. They move forward in waves. First, they stiffen their ribs to provide support, then lift the scales on a section of their belly. On land, it's slow going. Top speed is 1.5 kilometers an hour. But like the sloth, the anaconda saves its slickest moves for the water, particularly if it smells a meal. The anaconda's eyes and nostrils sit on top of its head, so it can watch and breathe while lying in ambush. They're real stealth swimmers, no ripples to alert their intended victim. Until it's too late. It coils and loops its body around its prey, crushing it with powerful muscles. The anaconda tightens its grip every time the caiman exhales. Soon, there's no room left to breathe. Victims are eaten head first, so their limbs fold back and they're easier to swallow. Each bite is followed by muscle contractions that force the meal down. It's an efficient process. No mess, no fuss, and soon no trace of the unwitting prey. Some prey animals have developed ingenious ways of getting out of trouble. The forests of Madagascar are home to one of the world's most unusual movers. Shivakas belong to an ancient group of primates, the lemurs. There are more than 20 different species of lemur, but the shivaka is in a league of its own. Shivaka's legs are very long compared to their bodies and arms. Their hands are slender and strong. But long legs come at a price. Unlike other lemurs, shivakas can't walk on all fours. They bounce. They can jump up to 10 meters and even navigate thorny trees with pinpoint accuracy. This ability to make long, precise leaps helps them escape Madagascar's top predator, the fossa. Fossas look like a cross between a dog and a cat, but they're actually a giant mongoose. Trees don't guarantee safety, so shivakas must jump to where the fossa can't follow. Foss's large paws just aren't nimble enough for them to navigate the thorns. But treetop acrobatics are only one of the shifaka's tricks. It gives its real movement masterclass on the ground. When it hits a clearing, it starts to skip, the fastest way to avoid trouble. No other creature moves in this way. Leaping sideways is the shifaka's trademark. Agile on land or in the trees, the shifaka makes light work of clearings, but it hasn't got all the moves. In the rainforest of Asia, there's another way to get down from the trees, taking to the air. The flying lemur. It can't really fly, and it's not even a real lemur. It's a colugo. But this curious creature carries a unique backpack. Shrouded in what looks like a furry blanket, it hops awkwardly up a tree trunk. It may not be the most graceful of climbers, but when needs must, to escape predators or search for food, the colugo just lets itself go. It catapults from its perch and glides distances of up to 100 meters. A thin membrane of skin connecting its neck, tail, and toes. Colugos can steer a little bit, but much is left to chance, and the only way is down. These strange animals use the air, but they haven't mastered it. They've left that to the birds. Watchful birds circle the coast off Hawaii. A group of young albatrosses are trying to fly for the first time. Several rise into the air just short of the sea, but two make splash landings. For one of them, this proves a bad move. A very bad move. Two chicks. One flies, one dies. But to find out why, we first need to understand how the albatross masters flight movement. Albatrosses are the largest and most graceful flyers in the world. The wandering albatross, with a 3.5-meter wingspan, is the biggest of all. These huge birds are designed to glide, rising into the gusts of the wind and falling when the wind lulls. They rarely need to flap their wings and can stay in the air for days, months, even years. The wind provides nearly 98% of the energy they need to fly, and 4/5 of their lives are spent in the air. But they can't breed on the wing, so these graceful flyers must eventually come down with a bump. They fold their huge wings in 3 places, tuck them into their body, and prepare to mate. Albatrosses lay just 1 egg a year, and it's 5 months before their chicks are ready to fly. Even though they're light for their size, albatrosses need to build up a lot of momentum to take off, and need a little luck. Tiger sharks patrol the water. They've learned there are easy pickings here. The first crash lander makes the right moves and gets a lucky break. Frantically paddling the water and flapping its wings, it manages to build up speed. A sudden upward current of wind lifts it into the air and carries it to safety. But the other chick isn't so lucky. It desperately tries to get some lift from the wind, but its wings become waterlogged and the air currents force it back down. The shark senses a kill. The young bird fights back with its sharp beak. It aims at the shark's eyes, but they're shielded by a tough protective membrane. The fight is far from fair. Like 1 in 10 first-time flyers, this young albatross ends up in a watery grave. One wrong move, and there's no second chance. Albatrosses fly for miles on 1 wing beat, but at the other end of the scale are these frenetic flappers. These tiny birds beat their wings so fast, it's a wonder their hearts don't explode. Hummingbirds are found in the Americas and are the smallest birds in the world. Hummingbirds use the same nesting site year after year. They save all their moves for the air. They're nature's helicopters. They can fly forwards, backwards, sideways, and even hover. Their wings beat around 78 times per second during normal flight and up to 2,000 times during a dive. Only insects have faster wing beats. Their wings work like tiny propellers, rotating from the shoulder like an oar. It's this that allows them to move in all directions. But such dramatic moves take a lot of fuel. Hummingbirds are sugar addicts. Their hearts beat at up to 20 times a second, so they need to fill up with nectar every 10 minutes. They consume half their body weight every day. That's up to 12,000 calories to keep these jeweled acrobats in perfect motion. At first sight, the African quelea is an ordinary-looking bird in comparison. They're small and dull brown with no distinctive features. But when they get together, the picture changes. There are more quelea than any other bird on Earth, and when they move, it's en masse. Huge flocks sweep across the land like a plague of ravenous locusts. As they migrate and search for food, they can destroy up to 60 tons of grain in a day, eating half and battering the rest to the ground. These vast swirling flocks are perfectly synchronized, moving as if they had a single mind. Miraculously, they never crash into each other. The physics of this mass movement remains one of nature's great mysteries. Magnetic force, heat convection, the way dust particles move, all are potential explanations for how birds flock, but we still don't know the answer. Colonies of up to 10 million quelea nest in thorn bushes and trees spread over 7 square kilometers. But huge numbers don't guarantee safety for all. The flocks can be penetrated. For predators, running into quelea is like a free-for-all in a supermarket. Turtles, jackals, marabou storks, and eagles all take advantage. Quelea on the move are awesome, but as the sun sets, they must settle down to roost. Then it's the turn of very different flocks to fill the sky. These animals are masters of flight. They can dart and weave through the air in total darkness, but even bats can be ripped out of the sky. To understand how, we need to fly with them. Mexico's twilight skies are blackened by a flapping mass of wings and bodies. A flock of free-tailed bats. Individually, they're small, about 9 centimeters long and only 14 grams. But up to 20 million of them can share the same cave. Bats are mammals, but their bodies are designed for moving through the air. Short neck, large chest, narrow stomach. Bat wings are made of bones and elastic muscle fibers sandwiched between 2 layers of skin. They are the only mammals capable of true flapping flight, unlike the gliding colugo. At dusk, huge numbers leave the safety of their roosts to feast on moths and flies. Flying at speeds of up to 55 kilometers an hour, they use echolocation to navigate and tell the size, texture, and even the direction of moving insects. But echoes aren't always enough to escape trouble. Red-tailed hawks can snatch bats right out of the air. Hawks have excellent hearing and the sharpest eyesight of any animal. They can see much farther and 8 times clearer than humans. So picking out a bat in the twilight is easy work. The red-tails hunt by stooping. They dive at speed and pluck the bats out of the sky with their talons. A hawk can catch up to 6 bats a night. However skilled your movements, in this aerial hunting ground, you can still be a target. Many sea creatures are also masters of flight. But flying through the sea is a different ballgame. Water is 800 times thicker than air and requires very different skills. Barracudas are the cheetahs of the deep. Their bodies are shaped for speed. They can pull in their fins to reduce drag, and a slimy mucus layer on their skin helps them cut through the water, like torpedoes. Like hawks, they have sharp eyes and attack prey at speeds of up to 50 kilometers an hour, taking huge, snapping bites with their powerful jaws. They dart towards bright light or any sudden movement that might indicate a meal, and once their sights are set, they're locked on. Barracudas aren't the only fast swimmers in the pool. Striped marlin slice through the sea like a knife through butter. These 3.5-meter hunters are designed for killing. 200 kilograms of streamlined muscle tipped with a lethal bill. Moving at up to 100 kilometers an hour, they slash at prey like expert sword fighters. They're perfectly equipped to fend and kill for themselves. So why do they gang up to hunt? To find out, we need to join in. When it comes to hunting, these masters of movement don't just rely on speed. Their brains are as sharp as their bills, so they can choreograph a kill. During the spawning season, marlin group together to hunt as a pack. In an awesome ocean spectacle, they herd shoals of fish into bait balls. Once corralled, the fish can't escape. The marlin move in for the kill. A small group is picked out and separated from the main shoal. And then it's lunchtime. Rather than speeding through life, some fish go in for gliding. The big daddy of these underwater albatrosses is the manta ray, with wings up to 6 meters from tip to tip. Manta rays roll their triangular fins in an S shape up and down from head to tail. They glide through the water like an outspread cape. Manta is the Spanish for blanket. Old-time sailors called them devilfish because of their awesome size and the horn-like growths on their head. But in fact, mantas are surprisingly gentle giants. They sometimes lie on the seabed, but spend much of their time swimming acrobatically near the ocean's surface. As they gracefully loop the loop, the mantas feed through a filter system. They draw water into their mouths and sift it through their gills. Any plankton sucked into the manta's mouth are imprisoned and siphoned into the stomach. All the animals we've seen so far have one thing in common, a skeleton. But some of nature's most extraordinary movers have done away with skeletons completely. These are spineless wonders. Jellyfish actually use jet propulsion to power their way through the sea. Their bodies are 95% water and made up of 2 layers of cells. The jelly in between gives them their name. Long, stinging tentacles hang beneath the umbrella, alongside more slender arms which feed food into their mouths. Woe betide any fish which gets in the way of these murderous threads. For balance, jellyfish have special gravity-sensing cells on the bell rim. When they wobble too far to one side, these cells make their muscles contract and they rebalance. To move, they fill their umbrella section with water, then push it out. This propels the jellyfish in the opposite direction, but it's a haphazard form of travel. They have little control over which way they go. The long, waving arms of kelp beds can easily snare a jellyfish. Once these drifters are caught, there's no way they can wobble to freedom. Escape is an option for these creatures, and is the reason for some remarkable moves. Stars they are, but fish they aren't. They come in different shapes, sizes, and colors, but all starfish share common traits. And as they live at a slow pace, if you want to see how they move, it helps to speed things up. Most have 5 arms, and if they happen to lose a limb, no problem. They just grow a new one. Each of its arms is lined with hundreds of tubed feet, and at the end of each foot is a tiny sucker. The starfish moves by taking water through a disc at its center and pumping it into the suckers, expanding the feet to push it forward. It's slow going, but these suckers have another, deadlier use. Together, they have enough suction to tear open a sea urchin, pull out its insides, and feast on its guts. Starfish have no eyes, ears, or nose, but light-sensitive cells and tentacles on the tips of their arms guide them to food. Sea anemones are a favorite. The anemone fights back, striking the starfish with harpoon-like stinging cells. In the end, flight, not fight, seems the best option, and the anemone heads for safer waters. If 5 arms are deadly, what could a starfish do with 20 arms? The giant sunstar can grow up to 80 centimeters across. It's an undersea nightmare. Once it's pinned a victim down, it dissolves it with powerful digestive enzymes and sucks the resulting soup into its huge gut. From hydraulic starfish to spring-loaded insects. Springtails have an equally ingenious way of moving, but like jellyfish, they've got design faults. Springtails are tiny wingless insects, but they can still take to the air. These aptly named mites have got a built-in catapult. Their bellies had a forked tail-like attachment. When resting, it's folded forward, but when they need to move, their tails snap open and fling them high into the air. Springtails are only 5 to 6 millimeters long, but they can leap up to 10 centimeters, 20 times their body length. We'd be jumping 36 meters. Leaping is an excellent way to avoid predators, but there are drawbacks. They have no directional control. If they're unlucky, they land right in another danger zone. Springtails have mastered moving up. It's the downs which let them down. For a more controlled descent, nature's invented the wheel. In the dusty dunes of Namibia, the white lady spider has an ingenious way of getting out of trouble. They build their homes by digging holes in the sand, but unwanted guests come calling. Black dune wasps prey on the white ladies. The wasp digs the spider out and with one sting paralyzes it. Once the spider's still and apparently lifeless, the wasp places it in a new sandy burrow and lays an egg on its body. When the egg hatches, the paralyzed spider becomes a living larder. But if they hear the wasps in time, these freewheeling spiders have a cunning way of escaping this gruesome end. They roll out of harm's way. They do so by flipping their bodies sideways and then cartwheeling on their bent legs. At 20 revolutions a second, the spider looks like a blurred ball as it wheels down the dunes. Leaping, bounding, slithering or flapping. Whatever you need to get around, over, through or across, the natural world has the answers. Raw nature's always on the move. Some animals have a lot to learn. How to feed, how to fly, how to kill, and that's just for starters. Join us as we take a seat in nature's classroom. To graduate, you need to be cunning, quick, and alert. In the wild, failure isn't an option. How do animals know if they're predators or prey? Is it learned or is it instinctive? A stalking cheetah is a fearsome hunter, especially if you're one of its main targets, a Thompson's gazelle. 70% of its gazelle hunts are successful. So instinct and experience tell the cheetah this is what should happen. Either find your gazelle, chase it and kill it, or find your gazelle, chase it and watch it escape. But what happens when the line between predator and prey is blurred? To find out, let's meet a rule breaker. A young fawn takes its first steps. Weak and defenseless, it hides in the grass until it's strong enough to join the herd. Nearby, another mother's tending her children. Prey and predator living side by side. The fawn instinctively reacts to the sight, shape and smell of its mother's teat. Meanwhile, the gazelle's neighbors are getting hungry. This mother scans the herd for their next meal. Gazelles that leap or stot are flaunting their fitness. The cheetah won't waste her energy here. She's on the lookout for a much softer target. A young fawn's ideal. One short sprint and it should all be over. But this hunt has a twist. The fawn is breaking the rules. It tries to nuzzle the cat instead of fleeing. Could it be confusing her fur with its mother's? The cheetah's equally perplexed. Why is this prey behaving like one of her cubs? Has she made a mistake? Could her poor color vision be misleading her? It's an awkward situation, but it can't last. Something about the cheetah's eyes aren't right. The fawn's mother has eyes on the side of her head. This animal is looking straight at it. A classic hunter's stare used to pinpoint prey. Whatever alarms the fawn, it triggers an instinctive response. It tries to flee, just how prey should behave. The cheetah's no longer confused. This is no cub, it's supper. Both animals learn their place as savage normality is restored. Predators may be born with a killer instinct, but learning to use it can take time. Prey are in for a rough ride. The snowshoe hare's huge feet power leaps of up to 3 meters, so it cuts through the powder at over 40 kilometers per hour. But this expert bounder has a relentless predator on its tail. Pumas are fast, solitary hunters with an amazing turn of speed. The cubs watch intently from the wings. Big, padded paws give their mother traction and stop her sinking. Long hind legs help her clear the snow. Her tail's the perfect counterbalance. This hare's going nowhere. The puma's jaws could make short work of her catch, but this mother's killer instinct is on hold. The hare faces a worse fate. The apprentice's workshop. These cubs started eating meat at 6 weeks old, and their mothers had to kill up to 5 times as much prey to feed them. Fortunately, as many as 8 out of 10 hunting trips are successful, but it's tiring work, and she must teach her cubs to fend for themselves. As the hare makes a bid for freedom, the mother steers her cubs towards it. Four months of play fighting have sharpened the cubs' skills. But how will they cope for real? Through chase and pace, pawing and clawing, and always under their mother's watchful eye, finally the lesson's over. These students have passed the test. And this parent's provided so well for her twins that they don't even need to eat their victim. It's a trophy, not a meal. Eventually, the cubs lose interest and the hare's abandoned. An easy meal for a grateful bobcat. The puma cubs have graduated. Play fighting's of less interest now. Surviving America's frozen north is a serious business. As winter turns to spring, a mass of wriggling bodies arrives in Kamchatka, Russia. After 2 years at sea, sockeye salmon return home in their thousands. They fight their way upstream, swimming 20 kilometers a day to reach spawning grounds. The females hollow out nests in the gravel and lay up to 4,500 eggs. The males rush in to fertilize them. It's instinctive behavior that's not gone unnoticed. After salmon spawn, they die, but many will lose their lives before they even get to breed. This is a crash course in hunting for brown bear cubs. To find out why they're so desperately hungry, we have to return to colder times. The Kamchatkan winter is cruel, too cruel for bears, so they hibernate. These cubs were born underground, their mother's been their only food supply. She suckled them for 4 months, and now she's starving. The cubs are playful after being cooped up in the den. The mother has no time to waste. Exhausted and hungry, there's urgency in her stride. A bear's diet consists mainly of roots, berries and grasses. But at this time of year, it's fatty flesh they crave, and the teeming rivers are where they'll get it. Unlike the lean adult bears, the salmon have fattened up at sea. Another mother has already arrived at the river with her cubs. Her first concern is to claim the best fishing position, though she still keeps a close eye on her brood. They're strong enough to follow her into the shallows, but with rapids below, they're not ready for fancy footwork. So they watch and learn. Bears fish with flair using many different styles. Some sit close to the bank and flick fish out. Others wade in and spear the fish with their claws. But a favorite, and the most dramatic, is the wrestler-style body slam. The bears crash into the water, pin the fish against the bottom and snap their backs. Each bear has a favorite method, and this mother's a body slammer. She learnt it from her mother, and she'll teach it to her cubs. The youngsters watch closely until their mother lands a catch, then wade across to share the prize. As the summer progresses and the bears sharpen their fishing skills, they become calmer and more deliberate. Whilst the cubs start practicing for themselves, their mother gorges even after the fish have died and started to rot. It's thought that 70% of a bear's annual protein comes from these fishing trips, and they desperately need the fat. Females can't breed successfully without it. Although they mate in early summer, their fertilized eggs only start to develop when the mothers put on enough weight. Fat's also needed to trigger hibernation. If reserves are poor, they won't sleep. All this makes teaching cubs how to catch salmon a vital lesson. If they can't fish, they won't make it through the next winter. Hunting's a useful skill, but why bother if you can get someone else to do the hard work for you? This pale, chanting goshawk chick is being fed an easy meal. Its parents haven't caught it, they've stolen it. But who's the victim of their crime? African honey badgers are aggressive beasts that scour the grassland looking for food. They're famed for their tenacity, tackling prey that most hunters would steer clear of. Breaking into a bee's nest seems particularly foolhardy, but the badger perseveres. Eventually, he's forced out by hundreds of stings. But after a short breather, he's back. Again and again until he gets his last piece of honeycomb. It's this never-say-die approach that the goshawks take advantage of. 2 months later, the young goshawk is ready for lessons in thieving. Accompanied by its parents, it sits in a tree in the heart of badger country, watches and waits. The hardy hunter smells a mouse. But the rodent makes a getaway. It's a short-lived escape. Whilst the young bird watches, its mother swoops down and snatches the mouse. Now the badger's really mad. Snorting and sniffing the ground like a demented bloodhound, it catches the scent of a second mouse. No dead tree is going to get between him and his food. The mouse makes a run for it. Now the youngster knows what to do. The badger gives chase, but this cunning bird's been taught too well. Another meal snatched from right under his nose. Flying is a great way to spot food, and this bird uses the height for a very unusual purpose. The baking scrubland takes many casualties. Carcasses are soon stripped bare. Only the bones are left. But that's all some creatures need to get by. When the last scraps of gristle have been plucked from a rotting corpse, it's time for nature's bone breakers to move in. Today, a young lammergeier vulture is getting a lesson. The blonde birds are the parents, the black-faced bird their youngster. Another of nature's crash courses. Will he pass the test? Having the guts to do the job is a start. Lammergeiers have stomachs like acid baths and can easily digest skeleton. Anything smaller than a lamb's leg can be swallowed whole. But bigger bones take a different approach, and this is his chance to practice. Step 1. Snatch a bone and soar into the air. Step 2. At 60 meters, take aim and let go. He's seen his parents do this. If the bone hits a rock, it'll shatter into more manageable chunks. He misses the target, but the missile's weakened. With his tutors in the wings, the young student swoops down for a second go. Lammergeiers are incredibly nervous and can't defend themselves against animals even half their size. Fighting other scavengers over a carcass is not their style. That's why having a crack at what's left is so vital. The youngster's second attempt scores a direct hit. He's passed the test and quickly lands to grab his meal. Speed is another important lesson. There'll always be other lammergeiers ready to steal, even his own parents. Young guillemot chicks aren't concerned with soaring to great heights. They just have to learn to get from here to here. It may not look that far, but for a tiny fledgling, it can be a lethal step. Guillemots are small penguin-like birds. Huge groups live off the coast of Norway. Life's precarious from the word go. Mothers nest on bare rock. Fortunately, their eggs are pear-shaped, so they'll roll in a circle, not off the edge. The youngsters are fed constantly by their parents, who rotate exhausting fishing and feeding trips. But at 5 weeks old, it's time for these chicks to learn about life the hard way. Guillemots live most of their life out at sea, but first they have to get to water, even though they're hardly prepared. 2 months before their flight feathers are fully grown, they must take a leap into the unknown. Some vicious neighbors are ready to take advantage of any mistakes. But there is help at hand. Each chick is joined by a group of beaked bodyguards, screeching loudly as if in encouragement. These adults spread their tails and jerkily flap their wings to slow themselves to the fledgling's pace. Chicks which land too early make a stumbling dash for the water's edge. Gulls move in for the kill. Those who reach the sea splash up to an adult, most likely a parent, and prepare for the next lesson. But water doesn't guarantee safety. Survivors are taught to swim. With feeding areas up to 50 kilometers away, it makes guillemot sense to take the chicks to the food. There's much more for these birds to learn, but nothing will be as testing as their first trip down from the cliff tops. Some animals don't take lessons. They just react on instinct, like a toad or frog when they see a worm. Their response is simple. If it wriggles, eat it. But such inbuilt behaviour can lead to big trouble. Deep in the forests of Central America, a frog sits motionless. It's transfixed by a writhing shape. The frog's being duped. The wriggler is a deadly lure, the tail of a young cantil viper. the snake's armed with heat-seeking sensors. The frog's cold-blooded and hasn't warmed up as fast as its surroundings. It creates a heat void, which the viper can detect. The frog's blissfully unaware of the hunter until it's too late. The snake's con trick wasn't learned, it evolved, and it's far too late for the frog to learn from this experience. Both animals are hardwired to behave just as they do, but over time, the more cautious frogs will live, and snakes with the best lures will eat the less careful ones. Who turns out more canny in the long term is not down to learning, but evolution. Animals whose brains respond to new experiences can break the mold. They're not just creatures of habit. They live by their wits. Mid-afternoon in the forest of Costa Rica, and this parent is concerned for her children's safety. She's a female coati who's built her nest up in the trees. Unfortunately, it's been spotted by raiders. They've got a real taste for meat, coati babies included. Both the monkeys and the mother are wily opportunists. But to find out who's going to win this confrontation, let's see how these animals live. The rains are months away, and this group of capuchins are starving. The forest is bone dry, and the only food left is a few larvae on twigs. They're getting desperate. Meanwhile, down on the ground, a group of expert foragers have learnt some valuable lessons. Coati youngsters are taught that sniffing and clawing at the sand can open up a treasure trove of turtle eggs. Rolling tarantulas around strips them of their poisonous hairs and makes them edible. The coatis work as a team, so no one goes hungry. Their neighbors sit and watch. They've not learned to unlock all the island's hidden larders. Instead, they wait for food to come to them. As the day heats up, the coatis head for the trees. Some rest, but pregnant females separate from the band to give birth in treetop nests. And it's here that their troubles begin. Capuchins have the upper hand in the branches. For these starving monkeys, a coati baby would be the perfect meal. They've learned that if they can draw the mother away from the nest, they're in with a chance. One capuchin tries diversion tactics. She's not fooled and decides to move her 5 young to another nest. This proves her undoing. Whilst moving her second baby, a monkey moves in and snatches the third. The screams of the remaining 2 bring the mother racing back, but too late. A second monkey grabs the rest of her litter. The monkeys now have their morbid meal. These snatch and grab raids can wipe out entire bands of coatis, but they found a way to beat the raiders. They can breed twice a year. The second breeding season's time to coincide with the rains, when there's plenty of fruit and seeds to keep their enemies happy. So although the capuchins have learned to outsmart their neighbors, nature fights back to help the coatis. Coati mothers become vulnerable when they're isolated. But these foragers are never short of company. Led by a dominant male and female, banded mongooses scour the savannah in family groups of up to 15. They fan out to cover as much ground as possible, constantly calling to each other to stay in touch. Once they've found a meal, tackling it doesn't always come naturally. It has to be learned. Snails are up first today, but they're too hard to crack in the jaw. With experience, a mongoose knows how to dislodge the slimy residents. Youngsters only pick up these skills by following the adult's lead. Next, it's caterpillar kebabs. The caterpillars are covered in stinging hairs, so have to be carefully rolled. And then the main course, eggs over easy. Only they're not. Raiding this nest is risky. If the mother crocodile cottons on, it'll be mongoose on the menu. This is a quick lesson. Roll, tap, crack, eat, and leave. And there's no sharing here. These mongooses are looking after number 1, so it pays to be a good pupil and fast on the uptake. Not all the troop is out foraging. There are domestic matters to attend to. And home for this family is an abandoned termite nest. This female has just given birth. She and her brood are guarded by babysitters, and they're about to be put to the test. The main party is returning home, but on their way, they encounter trouble. A boom slang. Time to close ranks. The snake could cope with 1 mongoose, but it's no match for this pack of snarling faces and razor-sharp teeth. It's a happy result for the foragers, but the delay has left the babysitters in need of backup. They're threatened by a roving pack of neighbors. They want the termite mound for themselves, and if they take it, they'll kill the babies. Teeth and claws flash as the babysitters try to hold off the intruders, but they're outnumbered. Their only chance is to defend all the entrances to the mound. They need reinforcements. Just in time, the cavalry arrives. They charge the invaders with the same group ferocity they used on the snake. And it works. The youngsters in the pack have learned many valuable lessons today. How to work as a team, how to defend your family, and how to find food. Learning to locate food is pretty easy in the African forest. It's full of nuts, fruits, and insects. Animals with snouts, tongues, teeth, and beaks harvest them. But what do other animals do if nature's not given them the right equipment for the job? They make their own. To some animal artisans, this isn't a jungle, it's a tool shed. Let's share a workshop with our closest wild relatives. Chimpanzees across Africa have developed all sorts of gadgets to get the food they need. They're attentive teachers. Wise elders gather pupils around them to share their skills. In East Africa, these youngsters are being shown you don't need a snout to harvest termites. A fishing lesson is in full swing. Make a rod from grass or reeds, then dip it into your termite mound. When you get a catch, be careful how you take it out, or you'll lose it. Persistence pays, but for some beginners, boredom sets in quickly. There are some disruptive pupils in these classes. Young males often mess about. Female chimps are keener than the boys. They learn younger, spend longer studying, and are more successful students. This young female is top of the ant fishing class, snapping and cracking a stick to make the perfect lever to pry the ants out. Meanwhile, across in West Africa, no beak, no problem, as this mother gives her kids a masterclass in nut cracking. She's gathered the nuts, selected her favourite rock hammer and taken it to her favourite anvil. The daughter's keen to learn and takes notes, but her younger brother's keen to keep swinging. He wants the nuts without putting in the effort. And it takes a lot of learning. About 7 years to master the art. It's all too much for the brother, and he takes it out on the teacher's pet. After a hard day in the classroom, it's time to sit back, relax, and eat. But these students have some inquisitive neighbors. At first, all seems friendly and relaxed. But the mood soon changes. Rocks once used as hammers are now put to more violent use. Branches are used as spears. Why are these apes so keen to see off their monkey cousins? What dark secrets do baboons harbour? At first sight, baboons seem to be a gentle group. They live in large, well-ordered societies. The young discover the rules of the troop through watching adults and playing with peers. Learning how to groom strengthens family ties. Facial expressions, gestures, touching and calls all convey feelings and have to be mastered to find your place in the group. Yawning's not a sign of boredom, it's a threat. A huge grin is no laughing matter, it's a sign of fear. With their dexterous hands and fingers, baboons are able to eat, investigate, and manipulate, and they teach their children how to do the same. Caring and sharing, attentive and nurturing. The baboons seem to be the perfect natural neighbors. All looks well, but looks can be deceptive. Some adults have learnt a darker lesson, and it's a lesson they're keen to teach their kids. Baboons living near humans are tempted by the easy life. These bad boys are heading where they know the pickings will be rich. A rubbish tip. Here they can scavenge at will. To get the tastiest morsels means stepping outside the law. Human law. Baboons think nothing of breaking and entering. These crafty bandits save their most cunning tricks for the cornfields. It would take all day for a baboon to gather enough wild seeds to match the energy from just 2 ears of maize. So a farmer's field proves too good an opportunity to miss, however well fortified it is. They've worked out when, where and how to get through fences, and once in, how to harvest their ill-gotten gains quickly. It's their daring nature and flexible diet that makes these baboons so successful. These crop raiders are bigger, breed earlier, and live longer than their truly wild relatives. They've more time to relax, play, and socialize. We may think it's an unsettling lesson, but for baboons, crime really does pay. Some animals join forces to rear young, kill, and defend. But the benefits of the pack aren't always clear-cut, and rank is rarely secure. Raw nature reveals the in-crowd's highs and lows. Deep in the heart of this Central African rainforest lives a peaceful, caring, vegetarian society. Gentle, thoughtful, and enormous. The mountain gorilla. Meet the family. Half a ton of silverback male, his harem, and their young. The silverback rules the roost with a gentle hand. But behind his back, foul play is taking place. One of the silverback's females is mating with another male. Is it a case of unrequited love, or is something more sinister at work? The clues are in the past. Our silverback was not an only child. He lived with his siblings in harmony. But as he grew, so did his strength and status. Now he's powerful, domineering, and respected. Our silverback has fulfilled the promise he showed in his youth. Being the alpha male means the females want him to father their children, and all the babies are his. Or are they? His younger brother, pushed to the sidelines for years, now threatens the boss's authority. The silver hairs on his back show he's mature, ready to head his own family. He finds a female and her infant. The youngster knows when he's not wanted and makes himself scarce. So why is this female allowing the subordinate male to mate with her? The reason is simple. Two dads are better than one. Both the silverback and his younger brother will think that the new infant is theirs. The baby will get love and protection from both males. These tactics may appear underhand, but they help to keep the peace in this family-based society by keeping the lid on the male's aggression. Yet this harmony relies on the silverback being kept in the dark. If he found out, there would be hell to pay. In our next society, the rival males' takeover tactics are less respectful. The Simien Mountains of Ethiopia, a savage, humbling landscape, the only home of gelada baboons. At night, these daredevil primates sleep on steep cliffs away from predators. Every morning, they climb the perilous rock face to reach the pastures of the high plateaus. In this society, there's not just one alpha male, but a handful. And just like these two, they each have their own harem to look after. The geladas are forced to live in close quarters because the food here is in short supply. Fortunately, friction between the males is usually resolved with ritualized warnings. A flash of the chest and a flip of the lip tell rivals to keep their distance. But the alpha males don't just have each other to worry about. Beyond this extended family is a group of expelled males waiting in the wings. Meet the bachelor bunch. These juvenile delinquents are hell-bent on getting their own families by any means possible. They'll use guile, teamwork, and even violence. The females forage each in their designated harem. While they're feeding heads down, the alpha male keeps a lookout. As the day wears on, the harems mingle and lose their structure. This is the perfect opportunity for the bachelor bunch to launch an offensive. Any tension between the alpha males is forgotten when there's an outside threat. It's time to close ranks. Now, the aggressive body language is for outsiders only. The raiders are undeterred. They forge ahead in a wave of terror. Ugly brawls break out left, right, and center. Even the females get stuck in. By pulling together, the cliff-top geladas hold their ground. The defeated bachelors retreat. For now, the harems are safe, but the alpha males must keep up their guard. Those on the fringe of society are always looking for a way in. Our gelada bachelors have everything to gain, while the young males in our next society have everything to lose. They may be descended from domestic stock, but these horses have run wild for over 400 years. And so have their instincts. Welcome to Arizona. This epic landscape is the stomping ground of the Mustang. Elegant, majestic, powerful, these nomads roam the plains in bands. The reigning stallion's at the rear, his harem and foals in the middle, while the top mare leads the way and chooses where to graze. The stallion keeps watch for danger and for impulsive bachelors who might threaten his social standing. Complex social relationships hold these horses together, and each individual knows their place. The horses groom each other, which reduces tensions on the outside and on the inside. It lowers the heart rate. In their early years, the foals, all fathered by the stallion, get plenty of love and attention. But for every young male, there comes a crunch time. Lack of water makes life hard. The herd can't support hangers-on. So when the foals come of age, they're forced into exile by the stallion. The colt doesn't understand. But the stallion's aggressive body posturing is loud and clear. If father's rejection isn't enough, Mum and the other mares drive the message home. Teeth once used to groom are now used to banish. Eviction can take as long as 3 days. Although it seems tough for the colt, there is hope. Like geladas, rejected males form close alliances with other bachelors, and one day could take a harem of their own. The societies we've seen so far are ruled by large, strong alpha males. But hyenas are dominated by feisty females. Yet the hyenas of this clan look just the opposite. So where are the dominant queens? In fact, they are the queens. They're the stronger, more aggressive sex. They've got high levels of testosterone, and their genitals have become masculinized into a pseudo-penis. They urinate, give birth, and even mate through this strange appendage. The pseudo-penis shortens to allow entry by the male, but only if the female gives the say-so. This strange social setup must have its benefits. Hyenas are incredibly successful hunters, with a better strike rate than lions. So how does this clan work so well? There are three main secrets to the sisterhood's success. The first is communication. Hyenas are born fighters, but ritual contact keeps aggression at bay. In this society, sniffing and allowing yourself to be sniffed openly declares status. Making yourself vulnerable to another's jaws is risky, but also promotes trust. Males know they're inferior and wisely give way to the bigger females. This ritualized behavior plays a vital role. There's so much testosterone flying around that violence and bloodshed are easily triggered. Aggression better directed outside the clan. And that's the hyena's second secret. Fearless pack hunting. Wildebeest is the dish of the day. Like trained assassins, they wait until the time is right. They target a calf and its mother. And the sisterhood launches an assault. Their tactics are distract, attack, detach. They couldn't achieve this by hunting individually. And that's why these naturally aggressive animals must work together. Although, when the prey's down, it's each to her own. The most powerful females get the choice cuts. Really junior males don't get a look in. This mother's work is done and she returns to the den, leaving the lesser members of the pack fighting over scraps. Motherhood is the third and final secret of these powerful sisters. Aggressive, fearless, powerful, yet loving. Testosterone doesn't seem to dampen their strong maternal urge. These matriarchs are some of the most caring and dutiful parents in the wild. They suckle their young until they are 1 year old and even place them in separate dens to stop them fighting. Hyena society works. Communication, devotion, and collaboration allow devoted mothers to lead awesome clans. Hunting packs are normally associated with large mammals, but bugs can do it too. There are over 30,000 types of spiders. They're typically lone hunters. Some wait behind trapdoors. Others hole up in burrows. But the majority live on webs. And the larger the web, the larger the spider. In Central Africa, there are webs that surround entire trees, suggesting spiders of monstrous dimensions. But this is deceptive, as it's not the work of one spider, but of a colony. Unlike our previous societies, there's no top dog. All these spiders are equal in size and in status. So why have these ones decided to pool their resources? Individually, these tiny arachnids couldn't construct a web a fraction of the size or strength. By living in this webbed megalopolis, each individual has access to more prey items. One of the colonies senses the vibrations caused by this katydid. What's most impressive about these eight-legged carnivores is that they can bring down prey much larger than themselves by working as a team. When these social spiders hunt, their methods and tactics sometimes resemble those used by a pack of lions. A number hold the prey down. Whilst another administers the fatal bite. The meal is then shared out amongst the colony. Like social spiders, our next society is carnivorous, but they take slaughter to a new level. A giant is stirring in the Central American rainforest. Half a kilometer long, 15 meters wide, eating 300 tons of insects per day. It's a monster you don't want to mess with. These are army ants. They are one of the natural world's most complex societies and live life in the fast lane. Over 1 million ants, divided into separate working groups, make up the colony. Soldiers keep guard on the flanks. Armed to the teeth and 5 times the size of their comrades, these fighters have become so specialized they can't even feed themselves. They must rely on the rest of the gang to do it for them. At the front line are the workers. They seize the prey with powerful jaws, paralyze it with stings, then tear it limb from limb. The body parts are hurried back to the heart of the colony. The enormous, bloated queen in the center is the only fertile ant. She lays up to 300,000 eggs a week, continuously topping the army up with new recruits. The ants work in such harmony they can be considered as a single weapon of mass destruction, moving like one huge beast with millions of limbs and unforgiving mouths. But there's one thing that makes this army even more impressive. It's blind. Instead of eyes, they rely on a trail of pheromones to communicate and to guide them to the killing zone. When an unlucky animal disrupts the scent trail, the army attacks without mercy. At nightfall, the troops retreat to the barracks. This breathtaking living bivouac is built with the soldiers' own bodies. The army fans out in different directions from this base for the next 20 days. When they have stripped the area of prey, they move on. Ready for the slaughter to start all over again. Workers, soldiers, a queen. Surely these roles only appear in social bugs. But amazingly, a mammal has opted for colony life. This is the naked mole rat. Subterranean, hairless, with oversized teeth. These tiny mammals are just 7 centimeters long. Colonies contain up to 300 individuals, each assigned a duty. The workers tirelessly search for roots and tubers, this underground society's only source of food and water. At the front is the digger, who uses sharp teeth and powerful jaws to tunnel deeper into the darkness. Behind the digger is an assembly line of cleaners who kick the dust backwards until it is ejected from the burrow. They can dig a kilometre-long tunnel in 2 months. That's like humans digging 24 kilometres, using just their teeth. Many mole rats make light work. An individual could never find enough life-saving tubers. But there's more to this colony than digging for a living. At the helm of this society is a very special individual. This chamber is home to the Queen. She's permanently pregnant and rules her society from the top down. She shares her royal quarters with her harem of males who have been selected from the colony to father her children. Large burly soldiers also reside in her palace, ever ready to defend her with their lives. Every single one of these babies is hers. Apart from her male concubines, she's the only fertile member of the colony. But what stops the others reaching sexual maturity? For the answer, let's join a youngster being initiated into the colony. The baby is dragged to the communal latrine area where everybody defecates and urinates. Because they're blind, mole rats rely upon smell to tell friend from foe. Wallowing in this mire gives them their signature scent. And it's here at the queen's secret festers. Her urine contains a hormone that suppresses other mole rats' fertility. So this juvenile is destined for a life of labor, not fatherhood. Even so, his efforts aren't in vain. He's so closely related to the fertile males and the queen that his legacy will be passed on through their genes. Our next society also features a top female mothering many young, but strangely, they're not all hers. This ostrich is a dominant hen. She chaperones a gaggle of juveniles, many of which belong to other birds. So, if she's such high status, why is she playing nanny? The roots of this odd childcare arrangement go back to mating time. A male ostrich is guarding his territory. Aware of the patch's pulling power, a rival approaches, flaunting his feathers in a brash display of contempt. Our resident male has zero tolerance and warns him off with a chilling call. The challenger, deaf to the warnings, ups the ante. The more plumage on show, the more scornful the slander. This is a clash of the titans. But the resident claims victory, his neck flush echoing his dominance. The rival is sent packing. After countless big bird brawls, the patch attracts the right sort of attention. The females are ready to mate, wooed by the male's flamboyant display. It's a flurry of feathers topped with a swaggering dance. The major hen gets most of his attention, but he doesn't just restrict himself to one partner. This 6-foot hunk of muscle sires chicks with many different mothers who come and go. In a curious social setup, the resulting eggs are mixed up in a nest he's scraped out of the earth. But the major hen is no fool. She moves the other mother's eggs to the outside. Here, they're more exposed to heat and predators and buffer her own clutch, despite objections. The male doesn't care whose egg is whose, because they're all his. The chicks hatch 6 weeks later, and thanks to the major hen's wily domestic arrangements, many of them will be her own. Even the ones that aren't hers benefit her brood by providing safety in numbers. It's a clever social strategy. Caring for somebody else's children really can work. Like our last bird, these feathered friends mass together. They're youngsters, but with no parents to protect them, they must watch each other's backs. Fortunately, ravens are born smart, with a brain-to-body ratio to rival humans and dolphins. Their cunning has allowed them to colonize most corners of the world, including some of the harshest environments on Earth. In the forests of Canada's northwest, temperatures can drop below -20 degrees centigrade. Even for these resourceful omnivores, food becomes extremely scarce. Meat is a godsend, one that adult ravens are reluctant to share. But when a juvenile finds an abandoned wolf kill, he invites his friends to join him. Why? Has this clever bear just got a lot of learning to do? Or have these youths got something to teach us? Young ravens are among the most curious and playful of creatures, an indication of their lively minds. When not playing, they often gather in massive, non-breeding roosts, sometimes containing as many as a few thousand juveniles. It's thought that these ravens are passing on information about where to forage. One way to find food is to follow a wolf. They would not be able to get to the meat with their beaks, so they let the wolves do the hard work for them. When one spots a kill, it caws and sometimes returns to the roost to share the news with the rest of the gang. When the other juveniles get wind of the feed, they set out. But this is not a simple case of you scratch my wing, I'll scratch yours. It's the wise thing to do when grown-ups are around. Mature birds are fiercely territorial, and juveniles risk a severe beating if they go it alone. But when faced with a gang of delinquents, adults can only look on. The juveniles eat at leisure until the true owner of the meal arrives. When the wolf's had its fill, the ravens will be back. They bide their time with playful acrobatics. They're a society of youths always ready to challenge the older generation and clever enough to get their food without a fight. Like our adolescent ravens, the threat of violence is the reason many fish club together. As a general rule, The smaller the fish, the more likely they are to school. And who can blame them? The sea is brimming with predators. These mackerel gather in their thousands and move as one in an attempt to confuse hungry blue sharks. In a swirling mass, it's hard to be picked out from the crowd. The predator doesn't know which way to turn. A fish on its own would stand little chance. Adult sharks have no need for crowd protection. They're lone cruisers following their nose to the next meal. When they group together, it's purely for selfish reasons. These white-tipped reef sharks look as if they're hunting cooperatively, but they're not. This is just one big feast. Each predator's on a single-minded mission to seek and destroy. By nature, sharks are loners. But some sharks break the rules and get friendly. And they're not always the small ones. They can be up to 6 meters. It's hammerhead time. But why do these bizarre killers form such huge groups? There's no need for defense. Who'd dare tackle this school? And it's no dinner party. These sharks prefer hunting alone at night. The answer is that these killer fish get social at mating time. The females gather here every day. The males drop in as guests. They want quality, not quantity. Luckily, there's an easy way to pick the best of the bunch. The females jostle for the prime position, and the largest ones take the central spot. So, to get the head girls, a cruising bachelor only has to head straight to the middle of the shoal. At the climax of the most intimate of social events, the duo literally drop out of school. When the day's over, the sharks return to their solitary ways until the following morning, when the ritual starts all over again. Many of the societies we've seen provide a safe haven. But what happens when your society is snatched away from you? Caring, affectionate, and protective. Meerkats live in close-knit family groups, led by a dominant male and female. On their own, these virtually defenseless mammals would perish. So why is this meerkat going solo in this crippling heat? The story of his plight began 8 weeks ago. With temperatures over 40 degrees centigrade, the Kalahari Desert is one of the most hostile places on the planet. And this year, the dry season is merciless. It hasn't rained for months. The drought increases the pressure on the meerkat family and on the predators who hunt them. The colony carry on as best they can, grooming, foraging under the vigilant eye of the sentry, and sharing babysitting duties. But before long, the harsh conditions take their toll. Our meerkat sister perishes at the jaws of ravenous jackals. His dad falls foul of the talons of a martial eagle. His mum suffers fatal injuries from a close encounter with a serval. And the remaining youngsters perish in the blazing heat. Our meerkat is the only one left alive. But a meerkat on his own is incredibly vulnerable. His only hope of survival is to find another family, and he must find them fast. With nobody to watch while he forages, he must be his own sentry. With nobody to groom him, he becomes infested with blood-sucking ticks and fleas. After days of wandering, he's close to death. And attracting the wrong kind of crowd. In the nick of time, he spots a family. But he's not welcome. These meerkats see him as an intruder and want him off their patch. Our intrepid hero seeks refuge in a nearby hole. The father of the family asserts his dominance. When the time is right, our meerkat approaches again. This could be his last chance. Our hero bows in submission, and the dominant male realizes he poses no threat, so allows him to join his clan. In the distance, rain clouds gather, bringing with them the hope of a bright future for this spirited survivor and his newfound family. There are many reasons to live in a society. Protecting each other. Safety in numbers. Killing together. Passing on your genes. Whatever your motives, whether you are the flavor of the month or yesterday's news, social life is never straightforward in raw nature.